All right, everybody, today I want to talk to you about 2025. We are in the third quarter of the year. For those of you who don't know what a quarter of a year means, it means every 3 months. So let's get into some trends, and let me tell you a few things that I think you should really be paying attention to and looking for between now and the middle of 2026. So obviously, number one thing we have to address is how we're going to be dealing with tariffs going forward. All of us on the US side are getting slammed with tariffs. If you're bringing things into the country, it really doesn't matter from where at this point. We're all getting slammed with really, really heavy tariffs. Now, there's a couple of things you can do. Number one, you can do what I'm kind of doing, which is just waiting it out. Let's see what happens. Of course, I have material that needs to come in. I recently just brought in a container from my manufacturing plant, which is in India, and it cost me around $18,000 to bring that container in, where normally it would have cost me around $3,200. So it might be not a bad time just in the interim, especially if you're like bringing in things from overseas and you're getting nailed with tariffs. Find somebody who's a domestic wholesaler or distributor who has a ton of backstock and is not going to raise the prices on you. Maybe it's time to start looking for one, at least to substitute in some material from places that the tariffs are extremely high right now. Some food for thought, because I don't see this getting any better over the next year. The world is changing and we need to adapt. The second thing we're going to talk about is balls. All need excessive amounts of balls. Size, shape, color, texture. Increase the amount of balls in your life. Make sure you really stock up. If you know someone who's producing spheres, it's really great to actually, I would say, get back stock of spheres, because they're really, really popular right now. People love spheres. You can actually learn about spheres in the book that I'm releasing coming soon. I do talk about spheres in my book, and I don't know, I've been saying balls so much, I should have been saying spheres. Get your hands on these balls, baby. I really, really believe that we are reaching a point in the industry where people are starting to move away or evolve into a higher end collecting. Not necessarily like where people want to buy $1,000 pieces or more, but where people are now looking to really diversify collection. So there's a couple of items that we definitely really want to get our hands on as much as we possibly can. Whether you're retail, wholesale, whatever you're actually doing in the business, there's a few things that are going to get really, really hard to get your hands on. One of them is malachite. Malachite, chrysocolla, pretty much anything coming out of the Congo. If you want it ethically sourced especially, or making sure that it's not stolen material at this point, Congo is virtually impossible to source from unless you're going there yourself like a lunatic. So if you can get your hands on material from the Congo, especially at a reasonable price, do it, because you're gonna need your hands on as much as you can possibly get, as long as it's reasonable. For me, I would say that, you know, make sure you're paying around $40 a pound for malachite is pretty reasonable. It's pretty fair nowadays. If you're directly sourcing, you know, you might be able to get, like after shipping, like $25, $30 a pound if you're going in a good direction and not buying stuff that's been stolen. Because unfortunately, one of the things, and I know because I've been a victim of it, I've had $35,000 stolen from me in the Congo of material. So I mean, I know how it goes. It happens, and then they take the material and resell it to somebody else. So that's something you should be aware of and look out for. Also, lapis lazuli. Any lapis lazuli that you can get your hands on that comes from a supplier who you trust, who you know is doing their diligent legwork, making sure that it's ethically sourced, fair trade, that's going to be great news. So lapis, malachite, stock up. I do have to say that one of the things I'm seeing people steer away from now is small novelty items. I believe that the manufacturing in China, which was so high for so long, and again, pumping out mass amounts of like skulls and little moons and little carvings and stuff like that, they just oversaturated the market. Nobody wants it anymore whatsoever. So if it's me and you're taking my advice, I would try to stay away from the carvings and the little knickknacks and paddywhacks. Give a dog a bone, and this old man will come rolling home. Like, you know what's been working really, really well lately? It's like little gemmy kinds of things, like little tourmaline slices. For example, this, I just got all of this in. All right, so these are just basically small watermelon tourmaline slices, and I go through these things like crazy. People love them, and actually we're able to do them ourselves. So I have great sources for tourmalines. Like, you know, you're taking stuff like this essentially, and you're slicing this out. So you take a little piece like this right here. You cut it down, you grind it down, literally, you can see, I don't know if you can see, it's pink in the middle, you know what I'm saying? And then you wind up with something like this. And so I have great sources for tourmaline. Actually, one of my favorite things to buy and sell is tourmalines. I love tourmaline. Dravite tourmaline is doing really well. Little garnets, things like this, are doing very, very well. I also have indicolite quartz here, which is like, you know, again, all these like really small, cool, like higher end items are doing super well. I got topaz in here, which is also another one that does really well for me. Aquamarine stuff, Herkimer diamonds. So again, it's like one of those things where we're seeing the trends going in that direction of like higher end but moderately priced kind of material. What I will say is that right now what we're seeing is Moldavite has completely taken a turn for the worse. Thank God I've learned lessons over the years, which is that when an item is trending really, really hard, you gotta know that at some point it's gonna stop trending and the price is just gonna plummet. So all of the people who are out there, like what happened with dioptase from the Congo, where people were out there literally selling like these pieces right here. We sold these for $10 a piece. When I was seeing this stuff trend, I think it was even last year in September when we were at Denver, and the people from like the dealers were out there selling rocks like this for 50 bucks plus. And I knew it was going to plummet. I knew it was going to go down. I knew the trend would kind of round itself off. And now there's people out there who paid $50 for this thing back in September, a year ago. So it's one of those things where it's like, be careful when things are trending to not jump on the boat, buy a whole bunch of it when it's trending, because you're most likely going to get nailed with overpaying for stuff. And I'm sure some of you have dealt with that. Some of you can comment below and let me know something that was trending really hard. You bought a bunch of it and now you're just sitting on it because you overpaid for it and nobody really wants it anymore. Happened with Moldavite, happened with Tektites, or what you'd call agnemanitite. Beaded bracelets, still going strong. People love their beaded bracelets. And for us in particular, I do stand by the quality of our bracelets. They're all made by people who are grown, consenting people, fair trade, all ethically sourced material, good quality beaded bracelets. If you can get them from the right people, bingo. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope you got some insight and information for what's coming over the next year. Again, I'm always happy to try to help whoever I can help and give as much information as I can so people don't wind up making big mistakes. Anyway, see you next time.